Chapter 134, Rejecting Sunflowers. You can only like me. As the man's voice dissipated into the air, Ava's slightly parted lips were sealed. She'd initially wanted to push Adrian away. She had a performance tomorrow night, but Adrian didn't like being defied. After only 3 seconds of hesitation, Ava pushed Adrian down onto the bed. She figured since they'd already done it once before she left earlier, this time could be quick. Well, she'd underestimated Adrian. In the end, Ava had to plead pitifully with tears in her eyes about tomorrow's performance and needing to rehearse during the day before Adrian finally let her go. As Adrian blow-dried her hair, she sat on the bathroom counter lost in thought. Wasn't it supposed to be that men went downhill after 25? Why didn't Adrian show any signs of that? If it weren't for her good stamina from years of dancing, she really couldn't handle Adrian's energy. What are you thinking about? Adrian turned off the hairdryer and lightly tapped Ava's forehead. Ava snapped back to reality and immediately put on a weak but sweet smile. I was thinking about whether you'd come watch my performance tomorrow. Did you save me a ticket? Adrian raised an eyebrow. Ava choked. This performance had been scheduled before she married Adrian. She hadn't saved him a ticket, but she had saved one for Wesley. And that ticket had already been given to Wesley long ago. She really wanted to ask for it back. But thinking about how she'd have to see Wesley to get the ticket back, Ava abandoned the idea. After all, the performance was tomorrow night. They'd already broken up. Wesley might not even come. Back then, I thought you hated me, so I didn't save one. Ava clung to Adrian's arm coquettishly. From now on, I'll save you a ticket for every performance. You have to come to every single one, okay? Ava wrapped her arms around Adrian's neck. Adrian lifted her up and carried her out of the bathroom. Ava! After finishing her makeup and changing into her costume, Ava was surprised to hear Amelia Zune's voice. She looked up and saw Amelia's face in the mirror. Amelia wore a long black down jacket that made her entire figure look quite bulky. The other company members were momentarily stunned when they saw Amelia. Not having seen her for over a year, they almost didn't recognize her. But after recovering, they greeted her one by one. Amelia rubbed her hands together, facing her former colleagues in their ballet costumes and elaborate makeup. She seemed somewhat at a loss. Ava came over to rescue her from the awkwardness. Did you come to see me today because something happened? Ava pulled Amelia into the inner changing room. Since leaving the dance company, Amelia had deliberately avoided her old friends. Perhaps she couldn't accept such a drastic change in her life, so she'd chosen to escape. If it wasn't something important, she would never come backstage to find her. Luke! Amelia bit her lip, her eyes rimming with a faint redness. Seeing her like this, Ava knew something major had happened. I think he's cheating. Ava froze. Did you see it yourself? Luke was quite chauvinistic, but he treated Amelia well throughout their years together. Though men's feelings could be fleeting, she hadn't expected that less than 2 years into their marriage, he could do something like this. Amelia shook her head. Today while I was cleaning, his phone rang. I was about to answer it for him, but the moment I picked it up, he snatched it away. That panicked expression, even though Luke explained it was an important client, they'd been together for 8 years. How could she not tell whether he was telling the truth or lying? Ava, it's time to go on stage. Linda Morrison's voice came from outside. Ava patted Amelia's shoulder and told her to wait here, and they'd continue talking after the performance ended. With that, she opened the door and left. Amelia poked her head out, watching her former colleagues walk out in their ballet costumes. Longing filled her eyes. After everyone had left and the dressing room door closed, Amelia walked out of the changing room and stood before the vanity mirror. Looking at her bulky jacket, she unzipped it and rose onto her toes. The dance she used to excel at now felt clumsy and heavy. Amelia stopped, staring at the unfamiliar face in the mirror. She laughed self-mockingly. Her childhood dream had been to stand on the world's biggest stage and dance for a lifetime. She'd achieved the former, but why had she given up on the latter wish? Halfway through her performance, Ava's peripheral vision inadvertently caught the seats in the center of the first row. She nearly thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. She looked again to confirm. The 3 people sitting side by side were indeed Wesley, Adrian, and Ian. Adrian sat in the middle. What was this? An ex-boyfriend's alliance? Ava suppressed her shock and immersed herself back into the performance. As the final movement ended, thunderous applause erupted from below the stage. After leaving the stage, her colleagues crowded around asking, "Ava, did you get back together with Wesley?" When they'd mentioned Wesley a while ago, Ava had said they'd broken up. They hadn't expected to see Wesley here today and assumed the two had reconciled. "We didn't get back together. I just forgot to get back the ticket I'd given out." Ava shrugged, her tone helpless. "I'm already married. I won't get back together with him." "Married?" Her colleagues were shocked, their voices making Ava's eardrums vibrate. Facing her colleagues' barrage of questions about who she'd married, Ava only said that her partner's identity couldn't be casually revealed. Her colleagues assumed Ava's husband worked in a classified government position and didn't press further. Ava, flowers from a fan. When they returned to the dressing room, her assistant held a bouquet of sunflowers. Ava gave them a cursory glance. She didn't need to guess who'd sent them. "Don't accept flowers from fans anymore. I've been a bit allergic to pollen lately, so I can't receive flowers." Hearing this, the assistant immediately hid the flowers behind her back and stepped back 2 paces to stay far from Ava. "Sorry, Ava, I didn't know. I'll go throw them away right now." The assistant carried the flowers out of backstage and came to the venue's exterior. Wesley stood by the stone steps, looking at the flowers in the assistant's hands, his eyes filling with desolation. "Mr. Hale, Ava says she's been allergic to pollen lately and can't accept flowers. You should take these back." A bitter taste rose at Wesley's lips. She wasn't allergic to pollen, she just didn't want to accept his flowers. "Adrian." When Ava came out with Amelia, Adrian was standing by the car, arms crossed, body leaning slightly against it. She jogged over and hugged him, kissed his cheek, then said with a smile, "Adrian, I need to come home a bit late tonight." Her voice carried a hint of petulance and subtle coaxing. Adrian held Ava, his gaze looking forward and landing on Amelia. "Remember to be home before 11. "Got it." Ava pulled away from Adrian's embrace and made a saluting gesture. "Adrian, you take a cab home. I need the car." Without waiting for Adrian's answer, Ava pulled Amelia into the car and told the driver to go to a famous hot spring resort in the suburbs. Home before 11? More like before midnight.